What if your entire life, the thoughts, the struggles, the roles you play, was not the full picture, but only a dream? What if the one you believe yourself to be is just a temporary expression, a shifting mask worn by something far greater, far quieter, far more real? Most people never question the nature of their identity. They wake up and slip into character, the parent, the worker, the seeker, the wounded one, and forget that these are roles, not truths. The world becomes a stage, and they forget they are the one watching the play. The sages of the Vedic tradition spoke of this with profound clarity. They said, "The world is Maya, illusion, a veil, not because it's false, but because it hides something deeper. The play is not a lie. It's just not the whole truth." You believe you are the dream, the name, the story, the thoughts. But you are not the dream. You are the dreamer, the still awareness behind it all, the canvas on which all images appear. Everything in your experience, emotions, sensations, memories, comes and goes. It changes constantly. It rises. It fades. If you were those things, you would disappear when they do. But you don't. You remain, watching, silent, awake. The one who notices your thoughts is not a thought. The one who sees your emotions is not emotional. The one who knows your body is not the body. That is you, the witness, the dreamer, the timeless seer behind all experience. But this dream is convincing. It feels solid, urgent, personal. That is its power. It draws you in with attachment, with identification, with the need to protect what is only passing. And so you suffer. You suffer not because the dream is painful, but because you forget it is a dream. You fight shadows. You cling to mirages. You defend a self that was never fixed to begin with. The pain is real, yes. The joy is real too. But they are real like dreams are real while you're sleeping. Vivid, emotional, full, until you wake up. And then you see, it was only part of you experiencing itself. To awaken is not to escape the world. It is to stop mistaking it for what it is not. It is to live in the dream, knowing you are not trapped by it. To participate fully, without being owned by it. You can still love, still build, still feel, but you do so from a different center, not the center of identity, but of presence, not the center of fear, but of stillness. This is not detachment in the cold sense. It is intimacy with life. It is seeing everything more clearly, because your vision is no longer clouded by need. You don't need people to act a certain way. You don't need life to follow a script. You are already whole, and so you can be with what is. The dreamer is not indifferent. The dreamer is free. Free to feel, free to choose, free to act from truth, not compulsion. And here is the paradox. When you remember you are the dreamer, the dream becomes more beautiful. Not because it changes, but because you're no longer resisting it. You're no longer demanding that it validate your identity. You can enjoy the sunset without needing to capture it. You can grieve without losing yourself in the grief. You can win or fail, and still know none of it touches what you truly are. The dreamer does not need a story to feel real. The dreamer is reality, the awareness in which all stories appear, the silence that holds every sound, the space between thoughts, behind breath, beneath experience. You have glimpsed this in moments of awe, in deep meditation, in shock when the mind goes silent, in love when time disappears, in death when the old self dissolves. Those moments were not the exception. They were the truth, briefly unveiled. But the mind pulls you back. It says, no, this is who you are. This is your job, your past, your role, your pain. Defend it, fix it, fight for it, and the dream continues. Yet something inside you knows, even now, that you are not the content of your life, but the one who holds the content. That what changes is not you, but what moves through you. The goal is not to destroy the dream. It is to remember the dreamer, not to erase your personality, but to stop being limited by it. Not to abandon the world, but to walk through it awake. You are not here to perfect the dream. You are here to wake up within it, to see it for what it is, a play of consciousness, a reflection of your own light, a classroom for the soul to remember itself. You do not need to understand it all. You only need to become still enough to see clearly. The dream will continue, but you, the dreamer, will no longer be lost in it. You will live in the world, but not be of it. Awake, free, whole. To live as the dreamer is not to escape life. It is to enter it more deeply, not as a character clinging to control, but as awareness moving freely through form. The dream continues, but it loses its grip. It softens. It becomes art instead of prison. You stop asking life to confirm your identity. You stop chasing roles to feel worthy. You stop fearing change because you no longer think it threatens who you are. You begin to relax into being, not doing, not proving, not becoming, just being. Most people live in reaction. Their sense of self depends on what happens around them. If the dream is sweet, they feel safe. If the dream is hard, they collapse. But when you know you are the dreamer, even pain becomes sacred. It does not define you. It deepens you. You realize, this body will change. These thoughts will change. These relationships, roles, and circumstances will all change. But awareness, the witness, the dreamer behind it all, does not change. That is the constant. That is the real. You begin to rest in that, not as a theory, but as a living truth. You taste it in silence. You feel it in your breath. You remember it in the stillness between thoughts. You live from it. And from that place, the world looks different. Not because the world changed, but because you're no longer projecting your own fear and lack onto it. You see more clearly. You love more freely. You forgive more easily, because nothing needs to be defended anymore. The dreamer has nothing to protect, nothing to prove. It is already whole. It does not need to be understood. It only needs to be remembered. Remembering happens in quiet, in presence, in the pause between effort, in the moment when you stop trying to become and simply allow yourself to be. The ego will return. It always does. It will tempt you with identity, with conflict, with the illusion that you are separate, small, and fragile. But now you see it. You know the trick. You've touched the deeper truth. And so you return, again and again. Not perfectly, not without forgetting, but faithfully. The path is not linear. It is circular. A spiral of remembering, of losing and finding, of sleeping and waking. But each time you return more quickly, with more grace, with more compassion. The forgetting becomes shorter, the remembering becomes stronger, and the dream becomes gentler. Not because it is easier, but because you resist it less. You flow with it, dance with it, learn from it, witness it. You may still hurt, but now the pain becomes part of the unfolding. You may still doubt, but now the doubt becomes a teacher. You may still fall, but now the fall reminds you where the ground really is. You are not the fear. You are the space that holds it. You are not the voice in your head. You are the silence it echoes through. You are not the dream. You are the one who sees the dream. And even when the dream feels heavy, when it pulls you into confusion, into grief, into longing, something inside you knows this too is part of the play. This too is movement in awareness. This too will pass. You are not here to control the dream. You are here to wake up inside it, to move through it with eyes open and heart soft, to stop taking everything so personally, to stop mistaking the temporary for the eternal. What you are, truly, cannot be touched by time. It does not age. It does not break. It does not need to be fixed. It simply is. Quiet, luminous, free. The more you rest in that, the less you need from the world. Not because you reject it, but because you are no longer defined by it. You are already home, even as you walk through illusion. And maybe, just maybe, that is the purpose of it all. Not to master the dream, but to remember the dreamer. Not to win, but to wake up. Not to hold on, but to see through. You are the dreamer, not the thoughts, not the roles, not the story. You are the awareness watching it all arise and pass. And in that awareness, there is no fear, no lack, no separation, only peace, only presence, only now.